Hey, good morning. Oh, let's put this in the pocket. Protect it from the wind. So another beautiful day. But I'm going to keep it close to home, not walk out in the woods, because shotgun season started today. And I've already heard a couple shots out there. Twice it looked like a kill shot because there was only one shot, and then later on I heard them empty their shotgun, and that pretty much means they missed. Tends to be the way it is. So I think there's at least 2 harvest deer out there, and one very scared deer probably. So I won't be walking back in the woods where I know there's probably at least 2 hunters. Definitely not dressed like this. I don't want to be their trophy. So I figured the good days out there in Whittle on my Shillelagh, kind of do a little bit more cleanup. And I thought it'd be kind of fitting to use my dad's knife. So, an old Western knife. And I believe it's probably, if I had to guess, probably about 60, 70 years old. Maybe even a little bit older, I'm not sure. But let's say it's about 70 years old. It does need some cleanup. I'm still trying to think, whether do I just keep it the way it is and just put more conditioner on it, or do I try to refine it? The problem is if I refine it, to get this smooth, I'm going to make the handle even smaller. And it's almost too small for my hand as it is for somebody else. But if anything, I might polish up the blade a little bit over time with just some maybe steel wool or some really very fine 1000 grit, and I think I'll just do it by hand. I don't think I'm going to sit there and put it on a machine. It'll take too much of the blade off. So on this one here, I do want to clean it up, but I don't want to ruin it. So I think I'll polish up the brass and the blade here by hand instead of using a tool, or maybe a buffing wheel when I get one. So right now I just want to do some refining, because I do want some of this stuff still to stay rough looking. You know what I mean? And this blade is probably not really set for the heavy work, like cutting through knots, where my other one is, but it worked out. But here, like towards the end, that seems like it'd be pretty good. And it's not like I don't want to make this super smooth. I want it to have still some of its grain and maybe a little bit of bark, but not much. So am I worried about getting it perfectly clean? No. And then this will probably be the walking side. So I will probably use a saw and cut that down. And then I think I'll be utilizing some leather too. Okay. And something you gotta be careful about is coming in too sharp of an angle, like I did there. So now I gotta try to smooth that out. And then they got some areas here where there's a bug had ate in there and left a tunnel. And of course we don't want that. So we want to get rid of that kind of spoiled wood. And the best way of doing that is just take it down some more until you get to that end. And that's actually what the sander is good for. Now, the knife I made, this old knife, does work far better. But I'm thinking this is something that'll get handed down to the grandkids. I'm hoping that, they show interest in it. And I will probably kind of make a montage of the whole process. So this is a video that I'm going to probably keep on the phone. All the processing I went through to make it, and if I need to, I'll save it on a thumb drive, and then I can attach that to it whenever I decide to have it move on long. If anybody shows any interest, but they can know I use the blade that I made. I made the knife that my dad bought when he was a young man, and I have kind of puts more of a story behind it, so they can kind of get the feeling, the connection of, you know, their grandfather, great grandfather, and things like that. The whittling is something my dad kind of showed me when I was younger. He was pretty good at it. He's far better than I am, but maybe I'll get better. And he'd use this knife to whittle. I remember in Boy Scouts, this is a knife he pulled out, and he'd whittle and he'd make something, a bobber for fishing, whatever. I think that's probably where I get some of that from, although my kids are far more creative than I am. And they get that from their mother. I'm really happy about my oldest daughter has published her first book, comes out in January of 2024, because who knows when you may be watching this. Like that knot there, I'll probably just kind of sand it smooth. It'll get chopped, so I've got a rugged base. And what I'm just doing, I'm just kind of making sure I'm kind of cleaning everything out here. You gotta be careful about biting in like that again, John. Come on. A lot of times that's just the wood you're using. So, not too concerned down here because it's going to be the lower portion of it. But I do want it to be somewhat smooth and not have the, but that's actually the grain of the wood itself. This is kind of how the wood is. Like I said, usually I'll walk out in the woods on a day like today, this being this nice, but there'd be hunters out there, and number one, it'd be awful rude for me to sit there and ruin their hunt. And as a hunter, you should know that. I remember one experience was out deer hunting, and the guy's out there with his beagle rabbit hunting. Well, beagles are great rabbit hunters. They get on a scent, boy, they stay on it. Problem is they make a lot of noise. So here I'm up in the tree stand, and I'm hearing this arr, 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 arr. I'm like, oh. And of course I seen the rabbit go right underneath my stand, so I knew the dog was going to be there pretty quick. And I had some conversation for the owner. I'm not going to blame the dog. The dog was doing what the dog was bred to do. He goes, oh, did I spoil your hunt? He goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure you knew it. It's deer season. Tell you out here hunting rabbits. First of all, it's not smart. Second of all, you're just pissing off people. Being a nuisance. So I can see a lot of this work has really been done here. And my knife does a better job of this. Well, like I said, once again, I just wanted to kind of have it in there that I use my dad's knife. think he had probably as early as in his 20s. And I'd get some work done on it. So, kind of coming along. I do need it to dry out more, but I do want to whittle it down a little bit more to kind of lighten it up. Like I said, in areas like this, it's going to need a lot of shaving. I'm going to use my big knife for that. It just does a better job. But right up here at the end, this works pretty well. Now I want to carve something into this or put something over to some sort of design. Maybe like a brass cap. I have those brass rods. And I was thinking maybe I could use those as kind of a decoration, just drilling through and then sanding them there. You know, might even be able to put my name into it that way. So literally I could probably bring Mac beans somewhere along here just by drilling through the wood and putting those brass rods and spelling them. Trying to think. It'd be hard to make it look right. Probably going this way would work better. Probably right here. Let me see. I think it would work. I'd have to draw it out pretty well. Make this kind of a flat area. I'm kind of digging on that. And then when I'm done shaving on this, I take it in the house so it'll dry out. Right now it's green wood. Up, two. So let me see if I see a deer running through. The stand's right over there. We've seen that stand when I walk out to Mud Creek. I don't see anything running through, but I think I can see the stand from here. So here, zoom in on it. That's the stand. There's the big tree. And the stand is right there. There's the deer stand. And he just took 2 shots. And I don't see anybody getting out. Don't necessarily mean anything. A lot of times if you do hit a deer, you don't want to chase it right away. But you can kind of see why I'm not out in the woods. It just wouldn't be a good idea. So, I got cleaned up nice. I'll do more work on it with my blade. It's just, I can just tell it's a much better blade than this is doing it though. But I've got some of these worm marks to get out. See how far they go into the wood. And I'm trying to get most of the bark off. Don't necessarily need to get it all. In some areas, it'll add character to it. And it's when you get a big bite by the knot. That's where this knife has a little problems, because it's not as beefy as my other one is. But that area right there has got to be shaved down, and the bigger knife will be better for that. Adds character. So this will probably be about between the drying time and getting everything the way I want it. It'll probably be a winter project. The whole idea, if you really want to put out really good craftsman work, especially when it's your first time doing something like this, you're better off not being in a hurry. Now, like this area and this area is going to take a lot of work. Middle area, I think I got pretty cleaned up already. This is where I was working on that sander, and it just, well, the grain, I need to kind of go this way so that big belt sander will do better. I'll put it in a vise, and I'll be able to work on it better and get it a little bit more smoother. Like I said, it doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. I just want to get kind of all these fridges off of it. Kind of clean it up a little bit more. Figure out what I'm going to do with everything. Just like I said, just too nice of a day to be inside. I'll probably walk to the pond, take a peek at that, and who knows, if somebody's not a good shot, I might find a wounded deer. See, where it comes in handy. So there'll be another time I'll be working on this. Like I said, with this knife here, I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Like I said, I'll clean up the brass in the blade a little bit, but to sand down the handle is just going to make the handle, I think, a little bit too small for me. And I think it's just fine the way it is. Now let's take a shot to ye old. There, I got my walking stick. Trying to get a little use of it. Major Shillelagh. I guarantee I hit somebody with this. You're gonna know it. Right. Here we come up to the pond. I don't expect anything to be there. Might get some fish on the surface. And there's the habitat. You can see where I threw more branches on there. As the years go, that'll get bigger. There's the animal trail. Goes right along to it. Could be a raccoon, possum, possibly a mink or otters are out here too. Still got algae growing there. Just kind of good. But the pond's down quite a bit. But so far it's been a pretty healthy habitat. Yes, like I said, just too nice of a day not to spend it outdoors. Let's get a better view of the deer stand over there. This used to be our firing range. was like right here, and we moved it out there. Now that we got the hill to settle down a bit, I'll have to get back out here with my godson and re-add to it. We kind of figured that was going to happen. I don't see any deer out here yet. Like I said, there's the top of the deer stand right there. I heard somebody take 2 shots. That's generally an indicator that they missed. Oh, didn't know I could do that. It flipped it by just me squeezing my thumbs together. It's not what I was trying to do. That. And out there is where I usually walk. That's the part where I walk in, and then I go down deeper in there. And those deer stands we were looking at probably have hunters sitting in them. So I will refrain from ruining their hunt. I didn't get a shotgun permit this year. You have to send in for them like in April, and I keep forgetting to do it, so I have to kind of like bull hunting better. But maybe next year I'll do it. I got one guy that's hunting my property, and if he gets anything, he's gonna share some meat with me, so that works for me. I do like venison. So I'll probably do this as a Saturday premiere. Once again, I'm really blessed with nice weather. It's been warmer than it's been calling for, and as long as it's sunny, you know, even though it's only in the lower 50s, it's still very doable. I wonder how warm it is in the greenhouse. Unfortunately, I don't have my temperature gauge set up where I can see it. I'm going to have to crawl in there and get that done. And then here's what I mean by greens. Greens are very durable in cold weather. So they pretty much survive those frosts that we've had. So if you want, I can clip some greens and add to the lettuce that the wife makes. And then here's where I had to tarp with the tomatoes, and here's a whole bunch of cilantro. Just popped up on its own. So I can come and harvest this when I want to. A lot of fun things to do. Did you get in here? Huh. How did I miss those? Found a squash I missed. So everybody, thanks for joining in this rendition of My Shillelagh. Dun, 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 dun. That's Sharona. Oh, okay. So we'll get this made, and once I get this completely done, and that's how tall I'm going to have it. I'm not going to. You might get, you know, maybe a couple inches shorter when I saw off the ends to make them smooth. But otherwise, this will be my walking stick. I have some fun when I go down the Star Rock trails with it. Or my wizard hat. I don't have a wizard hat. Everybody have a wonderful weekend.